Yo, what's up? What's going on, everybody out there? This is Dr. Garfield Bright from the group Shai, rocking with the BKS Experience. Gotta be experienced. And you can reach me on Instagram with the Garfield Bright Experience. And also Shiroglyphics for Shai, also on IG and Facebook. Shiroglyphics, Shai Roglyphics on Facebook or Instagram. So yeah. And thanks for enjoying good music, man. Y'all stay peace out there.
You are the best kept secret in the universe.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the BKS Experience. I'm yours truly, Mr. Live to Inspire, Eddie Brown.
And what's up? I am celebrity photographer Ty Waterman. But before I get into this, make sure you click that subscribe button, like, and drop a comment once you see what we got going on. And without further ado, I have what I like to consider a prolific guest in the R&B world. As a young brother growing up, getting into the game of trying to sing, had my own singing group for those of you that don't know, called The Best Kept Secret. And it's almost like the Bible. It's like the Bible, like you have to sing if I ever fall in love. And that brother who is on the vocals on there, or one of the brothers, Garfield Bright, what's going on? Let me correct myself. Dr. Garfield Bright.
Correction. Yes.
No doubt. I'm still just G, man. But I did accomplish that and got my Ph.D. and I'm definitely Dr. Garfield Bright, Educational Policy Studies, But
that
I appreciate that intro, man, and it's fun, man, because we used to always get word from American Idol, because we had a brother that Darnell grew up with who ended up working with like MTV and kind of like did some stuff over there, would tell us that our song was the most used song in auditions over there.
Yeah.
Would all come through. They would use, and it was like you never could hear that enough, or you never get used to that. It's like a trip. Like, dang, something we created, people like really like resonate with to the point to where they want to show their chops through it. That's crazy right there. Like you can't even,
That's one of them things. It's like you never know as an artist and where your footprint in that realm will be.
Right.
And y'all have a lasting legacy. Growing up, that song, it taught me a lot. Like before I fall in love again, that girl got to be my friend, right? That was, y'all saying something that it spoke to people when you were singing it. And then for me, like I said, that was like the blueprint of starting a group. You had to know that song. You had to sing that song and, know what your parts were. And it was bad because it wasn't like it was one of them songs with all the beats. It was a cappella and y'all had a tune to it. But when y'all did the a cappella, man.
That was the original.
Let's talk about that.
Well, the a cappella, the way it came together and stuff like that. Well,
yeah.
Like at Howard, we were all Howard students and everything. And so Mark, Darnell, and Carl, they were Alpha Phi Alpha members, the fraternity or whatever. And so they already had a group called Beta. And we hadn't done any shows, but they always would rehearse. They would go down to the Fine Arts building downstairs where they would have the padded rooms with the piano inside of it. And, you can practice, or if you want to bring your drum set in there, like, and practice, nobody can hear you, be soundproof. And Darnell and Carl, they had already written If I Ever Fall in Love, Comforter, and Baby I'm Yours. And those were the songs that like we would actually rehearse for our like long tones, like holding our breath, getting our harmonies tight, not thinking about them necessarily as being singles or anything, just songs that stretch your voice in certain ways, like in the gym, you got different stations that build certain muscles. Those songs were actually that for us and stuff. And so, we were doing those. And so when there was this one show that was notorious at Howard, it was almost like the Apollo. And it was like full of football players who were rowdy and all the New York, like East Coast crowd that want to just boo everything moving. I didn't care how good or quality it was. They just want to boo it because tonight we going to boo something. We don't have no Sandman to go on stage, but we booing something. So that show was like this huge talent show. And Shai, we never done any shows at all, except this one show before we got a record deal. And on this show was like this star-studded lineup of people who eventually were gonna like hit the industry and make some noise. and they were talented. So they got booed that night, but not because they was whack or anything, just because, victim of circumstance. So Tracy Lee was up there. He had this, at the time he did this joint called You're Creeping every single week and talk about the dorm life. It was dope. They booed him. Wow. He was the one that signed a deal with MCA with Party Time, and everywhere that my crew go. Then you got Dawn Allen called Pure Soul.
What?
Getting signed Debbie Allen's niece. She sang that night, it was blowing. They booed her and she, ooh. Then your boy Eric Roberson, he was at Howard with us and he
Eric.
He got up there and killed Pretty Brown Eyes by Mint Condition. Like, I'm talking about destroyed it.
Yeah.
They booed him. They just booed him just because they just feel like, but he was killing Pretty Brown Eyes. He was killing it. I was like, yo, booed him. So when we came on next, and I wasn't even supposed to be in the group. It was like, I had just started back hanging with Darnell again after, we had kind of parted ways. He was my roommate freshman year. And he had already pledged Alpha, and they had just got that stuff on the road. And there was 5 of them actually rehearsing for the show, but 2 of them quit right before the show started, I guess, nervous about the situation, getting booed and all that. Because it was rowdy. It was like a hostile crowd. You had to be built for that a little bit. So I was kind of like just around D. We started hooking up again. I was in this kind of crazy situation. My dad had claimed me on his taxes, so the financial aid I got revoked. And that last semester, I still had $1,000, but I couldn't get in classes, so I just started kind of chilling with D. I had a little temp job, but they wasn't calling me regularly. So I ended up in that fine arts room with D a lot of times right before the show. And I just kind of like ingested a lot of the parts. And so anyway, when everybody quit, he was like, yo, G, come on, step up. We need this 4-man harmony. So I stepped up, and we created this medley of pure like Boys to Men, like it was like Boys to Men medley. We started off with that 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was the one who was like, action, fellas, right? that was my. And then we came in right after that. Did Please Don't Go Away. Like and so the objective for me that night, after what I had just seen with all those talented singers, was just to not get booed. That was gonna be my victory. Like, word up, that was gonna be it. We didn't get booed. And so the crowd, instead of booing us, they stood up, gave us a standing O, and they wanted like an encore. We were like, dang, the more songs. Like, what we gonna do? And so we was like, yo, why don't we do that, one of our practice songs? Let's do If I Ever. It's like, all right. So we still standing on stage. They opened the curtains back up. And we was like, we knew they were gonna go. We designed that show so that we wouldn't get booed. So we knew the exciting elements of songs that we known were hits. We knew Boys and Men made them hits. All we had to do was just represent. We was gonna be okay. But this we didn't know because this was our original song. We didn't know how it was. But man, we hear that ooh, da doo 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 doo, ooh, harmonies. And so the first verse and then the hook, when Darnell hit the hook, when he hit the hook, the second time the hook came back around again, that whole crowd, all those big old burly football playing dudes and all that, they was like, fire. Like, and so, it was like, dang, we might have something here. So like right on that stage that night, we felt like we had a hit song, and we also decided on stage after we got that response that we were gonna try to get a record deal and go to New York and hit Avenues of America in search of a label for the situation. And that's what we tried to go do immediately, like on that spot. 4 college guys just made up their mind based on that response that, yo, I think we got something. And in our naivety, we really had the gumption to really believe that it could work. Not knowing what we know now, but just really feeling like in that moment, the energy of that was something special. I think it's worthy. I think we can get a deal off of this. And we just had the audacity to go try to do it. In some kind of way, man, all the chips fell to really make it a manifest. It was crazy. Like, we really... It was ridiculous.
Well,
that was the only show.
They say no risk, no reward.
Yeah, that was crazy, but that's how that came about, man. Like, and then I was officially in the group at that point, and so
Well, I'm glad. I'm definitely glad that happened because, like they say, no risk, no reward, and it's like you get out there. To this day, I won't. That note, I love singing the high parts, or trying to at least.
Okay.
That note, I won't. I can't get that third one properly. My reason is because I think too much, and I think about what people are going to say if I crack. So I won't attempt it. And then about what was it? 2 years ago on my birthday, I happened to play drunk karaoke, and I hit that note. So
It's loose.
in the edits, the video might pop up.
The very next time she will be my friend, someone who I can believe in. The very next time she will be my friend. Get it time, get it time! The very next time she will be my friend, someone who I can believe in.
But I was, my boys in my group, they were actually there. So this is years later, almost 20 years later, and I hit the note. And now maybe I didn't hit it perfectly, but you could tell that there was something there.
Yeah, you hit that
and
one.
I sent it to you guys, and one, I don't know which one responded, and they was like, wow, okay, you know, and it gave me told me about the, you know, what I needed to do. But it was still like, man, that was just a drunk karaoke. I ain't trying to, like, you know, do it.
That though, right there though. But
just to be able to share that with you guys and to have this conversation now, you know, it's amazing. When I hit puberty is when I lost most of my high range.
I mean, it tends to happen, my man. Yeah, but that's not a bad thing.
It's just to know.
You still got the little range, but now it's like got a little more something else to it. So
listen,
it's still good.
It's one of those things where social media plays a different game in the element of you as a celebrity, as a singer, trying to get your music out there. It's not the same. Like for you, what does that mean? Like, how does social media play a game in what you're doing today? Like,
well, you know, in a lot of ways, social media is much better than the way we had it because you can go directly to your core audience, whoever that may be. You can identify them. They can tell you that they like you through some stuff really called likes and views, and you can really quantify like who's rocking with me. And you know, you can kind of like create some analytics and really know what they want to hear. You can actually talk to them. They could tell you. You know, it's like you to them, no middleman. And albeit it may not be a crazy distribution chain like how the major labels used to have it back in the day, but it's a lot of power in owning your own self and your masters and your creative control over your projects to where, yeah, it might be product but you still own it. It's still your art as well as your product. And you can put it directly to those people who like it, and instantly they can give you the feedback. So you can always, you know, freedom in a lot of ways, man. So in the social media era that we live in the internet of things, that's a strength if you can understand and value it in the moment, knowing that that's something that the old school artists didn't have at their disposal, you know, a way to connect directly to the marketplace without a crazy lopsided contract and some kind of wild middle A&R with a heavy micromanagement hand on your shoulder telling you what to, you know, you can identify what you think you are and you can find out who likes that and just service them all day. Boom, 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 boom. And create a little cult following, do shows based off of it, you know what I mean? And you can build, you can nurture that and make it bigger and better, but it'll be a core. You never get rid of your core. Your core always, once you identify core, it stays there. It's real. Those are your true people, whether it's politics or music or, you know, whatever the case may be.
Eric Roberson has a lot of success doing that.
And let me tell you a little insight on him, because when we signed MCA, our manager, who was Carl's brother, also took him because, you know, he used to rap. He used to rock with E.A. Howard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He got signed to MCA with the single Back to the Moon and Back Again.
The Moon, yeah.
Crazy. But he was already popping before that. Like, he was one of the rare people who really didn't have to make a demo back in the demo era, because he was so sick with the vocals and so sick with the pen that he could literally sing like the major parts of songs that he had written in such a way to where people could really get the message without him having to spend money on a demo. They could really get it through him just singing it live to them real quick, like different parts of it. Yeah. He was so like on point. He could tell the sweet spot of the little harmony. Even if it was a part that required harmonies, he can get right up in there and pick the notes out that was probably going to be the popping part, hit you with that real quick, hit you with a verse in his way of doing it. And you could probably get a feel for that. So, yeah. He would sell songs that way, man. He had a big deal with BMI, I think, early on in his, before he got signed to a solo thing, when he was like an 18, 19-year-old brother from Jersey, just writing dope songs for people, man. Like, so I got a lot of respect for the way that brother came into the game, and I need to get him. now. Like I still listen to his stuff. I'll be waiting for him to come out.
Listen. I need to get him on the show so that I could talk to him. And then what I need to tell him is he need to write a Shai joint.
Man,
that would be fire.
If you get him on, ask him about the song he wrote for his grandmother. He would never put that on a project, but I tell you, I swear, it sure as everything. Look, that song right there, like it hit me so hard that my grandma was still living. Like the way, oh man, it's about his grandma passing away and how he processed that as a little kid, going through that, listening to it, and
because he did a song about cancer, and that thing just hit me because the lyrics don't say nothing about cancer, but when you watch the video, it hits you, and I'm like, man, and he's not a vocal beast by any nature of the thing, but he's a singer, and his lyrics, it means something, and that's what we missing nowadays.
Boy, it's bad with the pen, and I think he a vocal beast to me. To be honest with you, like like if you put him in a room just a cappella and just have him express ideas vocally, like he put extra, like when he sings songs, he tones it down and makes it just like he knows how to write songs, so he creates voicings for. He don't really do all the different stuff that he probably can do like in a song like that. But yeah, boy, I don't know, man. I done heard him do some wild stuff when he was younger, man. Like that.
Well, I take that back. From what I heard, and when I say beast, I just mean he's not one of them people that you hear like vocally doing all this stuff. But at the same time, he know how to tame his because he knows what works, and he knows what sells.
Yeah, he's crazy with it, man. But I know what you mean, like one of those real just nutty voices, like. It's crazy vocals. Some people got that too.
Yeah, I hear you talking about the business. I know a lot of times, a lot of groups start off young and maybe even coming up, childhood, high school, but you guys were in college. Do you think that was really beneficial as well because you guys were a little bit more mature and you had knowledge enough to, learn the business of music? And I know, how a lot of R&B groups start and they kind of get lost in that. And then they learn it later on. So was that more beneficial for you and later on in the years?
That you asked that question because like what I did my dissertation on to get my Ph.D. was how Black males navigate inequitable power spaces. I looked at how males deal with being in the classroom in an educative context, but I also looked at Black males in navigating the music industry. The commonality in those was these 4 phases. There's this trial and error phase, that goes into a peep game phase, that then goes into the new attitude that you apply in the game that you just peeped. Now you're gonna apply that in a way that you can save your soul, and still now that you understand there's some kind of game that you played that you didn't realize was there, power dynamic, you're gonna try to navigate that as much as possible with still being able to sleep at night with yourself. And then the 4th phase is the experience is the best teacher. Like you learn some real immutable lessons from that you transfer into your life in both of those scenarios. And so the contract, even though we went to college and stuff like that, the fact that you're coming into a situation where there's already a prepared contract that you didn't make, that you come in to sit down at the table with somebody bringing that, there's already an asymmetry in the power. You got to maybe go back with your lawyer and figure out little spots in there that you can kind of like wiggle room in there to save a little bit for your sanctity and your soul. But you're about to really get an education now because you're about to sign a power dynamic over to someone to where as an artist and your creative impetus is producing this art. As soon as it's given birth to, it becomes product, and contractually they own the business side, they own that product. And if you in there, they'll put you in the can with your soul in the can with the product and sell it. And that was the name of my dissertation, Soul in the Can.
Wow.
So and so that thing, I think going to Howard allowed us to kind of see it in a more of a macro way, as well as the local way that we was feeling it, and be able to kind of pivot in such a way to kind of thwart it. So like we named our second album Blackface, which was like a ironic twist to the Al Jolson thing. We said inside of everyone's face is a black face, turning it into, switching the narrative to the Black is Beautiful narrative, basically, through the black face on purpose. We kind of took a stand with Arsenio when he put Minister Farrakhan on and stuff like we did certain things because they were trying to If I Ever was a smash, but it crossed over the pop and they were going to keep us in the pop realm. we weren't able to go to the black stations when we went to certain towns and stuff like that. And we were alienating them. They were getting mad at us, not realizing that we were just some young kids and the label was kind of steering us away. But when we got wind of it and we had this reputation in our mind and this legacy, like, look, we Howard brothers, man. We can't go out like that. So in that question you just asked, that part of us kicked in during that time, and we kind of took it by the reins. And we challenged our label. They wanted to put out Baby I'm Yours as a second single, which had a more pop feel to it to kind of piggyback off of If I Ever Pop success, because they put that, they had to do that in the track. When really that track is piano, like Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On chords. And without that little sounds, it sounds just like Let's Get It On and that soul, but they popped it out. And when we told them Comforter, the people on the street in the marketplace was telling us that Comforter was the joint to them. And put that out. Big drag down meeting at MCA about that situation. They were trying to tell us basically, well, LeBron and them got told a few months back to be quiet and dribble. They basically was telling us to shut up and stay in our singer lane and let them handle the business. But we pushed back and we were like, nah, we in the marketplace. We know what the people are clamoring for, and it's not Baby I'm Yours. So they were like, you know what? We gonna let y'all see what it is. So almost on a dare, they put out Comforter, but without any money or support, no payola, nothing at the radio stations, made a real cheap video for it. And without any push, Comforter went gold by itself, just organically off of just black folks buying it. Like it was pushed black radio. And then it started gaining more traction after they put some money after, it did its own thing. Then they felt safe that they had the bottom line already secured so they could put a little money. But they really put a lot of money behind Baby I'm Yours that came out third, because they wanted us to feel like they wanted Baby I'm Yours to do much better than Comforter, to show us that they all, but they did the same as Comforter, but they used way more money with Baby I'm Yours than Comforter and stuff like that. When they both went to the top 10 of Billboard and stuff like that. So, those are three bona fide, I guess you could say, hits if they reached the top 10 and stuff. But we really had to fight. If we hadn't done that, being conscientious and understanding the link to the black neighborhood and the pulse of the street being important for us to resonate to, and then actually give outputs for what we was receiving as inputs directly to the fan, telling us, yo, we like Comforter. He's like, okay, if we hadn't done that, Comforter never would have come out. We would have only had 2 singles on that first album, Baby I'm Yours and If I Ever. And Comforter probably would have never had a video. And that's the video I kind of took my little, jump forward in, because I kind of sung most of Comforter. That was kind of like my little joint, my little debut, whatever. And it's funny because I'm just waking up. I was in the studio, man, on the couch. We had the studio from like 4 to 4 in the morning, 4 p.m. to 4 in the morning. And I was asleep like 11:30. I had fallen asleep, I think, because we always had Mickeys in the room. I had 2 Mickeys, man. I was out. And they come waking me up. Yo, it's time to sing. I thought they were just tracking it that night. We were going to come back tomorrow fresh, and start the song. They waking me up at almost midnight. Yo, G, get on the mic. And so if you're hearing the song Comforter, you hear me do something like, I go, talk to me, baby. And the only reason I did that is because, you just wake up. And they forced me on the mic that quick. I didn't know what my voice was about to sound like. I didn't know if I was groggy. I didn't get no water. It was just get on the mic. You got to maximize this time. And it dawned on me, I'm about to sing something. What if I crack, like you were saying? Like how you was talking about, I was like, yo, let me do a little slick way of testing my voice without ruining the moment. So I just came out with that line just to hear what I was dealing with. And my voice was extra low. But, I could play with it because it was kind of fun. Like when you first wake up, it's an extra little Barry White to it. You could play with that. So that's exactly what I had. When I was doing this little Comfort, I had a little extra man voice for me at the point. I was like, I'm going to use this. And so that's really what was happening during the Comforter session, man, for real. I don't really get to tell people that too much.
These stories, man, it's taking me back. I remember sitting on the bus.
Before we go any further, I really want to make sure I address my man's question about how Howard really allowed us to have the black consciousness to realize that we had an obligation kind of like to push for our blackness in certain ways. And even when they pushed back against us, we still kind of went out swinging, to kind of push that issue, because we really wanted to leave that legacy. Like Shai means destiny in human form, coming from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or coming forth by day. That Kemetic culture we took serious. And, the female is Renenet, which means fate. And together, destiny and fate mean, the future.
Wow.
We took that serious about ourselves, that we were the personification of destiny in that way. And so we constantly had these struggles of push back against like what we wanted the cultural piece to become and be a part of, and they were just trying to reduce it. Like they didn't want us to use the hieroglyphics that meant Shai. They just wanted us to just spell it in English. And
right.
any way they could make it more commercial and devoid of culture, they would. And so, you know, then we English, okay, well, blackface.
Right, you know.
Exactly, straight to it. Yeah.
Ultimately, I think that they sabotage us because of it. Like they put our album out before they put a single out for that album. You know, and then write in the stores the date of the release and stuff, stuff like that. They was trying to write us off, whatever. But yeah, that's how it went down for us, man. We was like some low key activists. Nobody really we were really doing it that way. But we came from a legacy of that at Howard. You know, being in Nia Force. I was Mayor Raz Baraka of Newark, New Jersey. He was the head of an organization that I was a part of called Black Nia Force. Him and April Silver. We took over the A building. They tried to put a KKK member on the board of trustees. You know, our contingent rose up. We did the research. We kept meeting in the back of the School of Architecture and laid out the plans for the A building, and we could see exactly how to attack it to shut it down. We were going to make sure we didn't block off the federal part, which was the post office, so that federal troops couldn't come in. We made sure to leave that open, and we had a plan. We had the community giving us food. We had it all pre-set up. I know I had to go through the front door and make sure that everybody in there at that moment knew that we were taking it over and that they were free to leave so they wouldn't be no kidnapping charges. Like we thought all of that through. And then we took it over, man, for like 7 days, 8 days or something like that. And then got gassed out. But our demands got met and Lee Atwater was no longer on the board. So we want, you know, but we came from that into the music industry. And then so in the industry, we had to represent, albeit, you know, we were college guys too, but at the same time, we were conscious. We were Howard.
Right. You carried over that advocacy, and that's what I think differentiates a lot of people now. Even the groups back then and now, basically saying, you know, purpose versus industry, or, you know, you guys are doing it for the culture. So what's actually your purpose? Are you trying to go into the industry so they can change you, or are you trying to go into the industry to really get your message and purpose out there? And I feel like, you know, from your stories, that advocacy was strong.
It's a transactional situation. The meeting of both is irrevocably changing both parties. At all, knowing that going in, the key is to not be changed, because any transactional situation is going to create that. But being conscious of that and trying to create a space to where you can kind of like own that change in a way where the energy could still allow you to flip it into hopefully a win-win if possible. But some kind of, you know, progressive move to where you can easily pivot to a peak again, you know, and kind of like maintain. So just knowing what you're going into, you know, that whole piece. Like a punch, like in a boxing match, it's almost, unless you Floyd Mayweather sweepy, it's almost impossible to go in there and think you're not gonna get hit. Some of them can do that. But most people, the cool thing is to know that blow is coming. The ones you see, you can brace for and you can absorb. And then even strike back. Like as soon as he hit, you probably got the timing of the rhythm, like boom, then 1-3, you know, boom, you know, but the fact that you could perceive it coming, you were ready for it. You took a minimal hit because you braced yourself in such a way to where you're taking that impact, but you trained yourself to take an impact in a way where you can sustain yourself through that impact and still come back on purpose. You know what I mean? And that thing is a thing. Like that's the thing. You know, that's the piece right there.
All this jewelry, man. All this jewelry. Sheesh.
That's the piece.
This is, I don't know. My brain just went from like fanboy to like, I just been schooled, and I'm like, I don't even know where to go with this right now.
Oh man.
I'm like, the child in me, not even the child, but the young man in me is in awe of the music, but the adult in me is just proud of hearing the legacy that you tried to instill in something as simple as the music. You know, it's not something that is thought of. I didn't know what was built up behind that.
Exactly.
You know, I was getting ready to hit you with my memories of sitting with a Walkman or listening to Comforter.
Walkman.
But then to know the power of you identifying with your struggles around you, the things that you got going on, and how you need to speak up and voice your own opinion. But that has a direct impact on a lot of that's what's going on now, where there's a lot of people that don't know how to use their voice properly, and they're getting taken off the board in different ways where we don't know how to combat without using anger, without using violence, and we're being perceived as using this as a way to try to get what we want, but not doing it the right way. And it seems like, you know, you were effective in attempting to do so. I don't know, this is more of a statement than a question at the same time. Do you think that your maneuvering within the industry at that time had an effect on later, as far as trying to put more music out and things like that? Because it's like you said, I knew because I was a fan that your stuff dropped. But then at some point, I didn't know you had other albums later.
Right,
you know,
right.
And it was like, wait, they had a whole album. I found out about which one came out after Blackface?
Oh, then we did like that Destiny album, maybe?
The Destiny, I think I found out probably 2.5 years after it came out.
Yeah, that was like an independent move that we did. And we were fortunate enough to have a clean break with MCA to where we didn't owe them anything, they didn't owe us anything. We could just leave. Peace. And so from there, we kind of like got with this dude named Michael Jackson, who was a wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens, star receiver at the time. He had this, you know, he put his money in this record label called Big Play Records. It was like for people who from Baltimore. It was in Baltimore, like right on Biddle Street, right between like, if you walk out the door to the right, you kind of like on the extension of UMBC campus. If you walk out your door and go to the left, it's the hood. And we was right straddling that line right there. We did an album there with Michael Jackson. But we also did, and then we did some stuff after that. But we did a joint with KRS-One on that album. The last song we did on MCA, we did a joint with our own money with Jay-Z that we got with Marley Marl, and he got Jay-Z on there. And it was like a remix to this song called I Don't Want to Be Alone Tonight. It was called Tonight. Yeah. That music from Nobody Beats the Biz, that doom, 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 doo, 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 doo. We used that, and me and Darnell pinned it up, and we rocked it, and they didn't even want to do a video at MCA, man. Why? Because they didn't pay for it, so their interest was not vested in it. And we were able to put $5,000 of our own money up, get Marley Marl, who was like the main man at Hot 97 in New York, and the poster child at that time, who had just done with the song with Foxy Brown called Ain't No N-Word. Ain't no like the one I got, no one. Yeah, just did that. Hotter than knife going through butter. And he did 3 verses on that song for us. And it was like #1 on Hot 88, man, for like a month and a half in New York, the place that sets and breaks records at the time. And MCA still didn't put a video with Jigga and Shai. Like, it was just crazy. So we knew we had to leave a label because that was just like ridiculous that they didn't. We paid for it and everything. All they had to do was just at least put the video, and we could have blew way up. But it was kind of like legendary in New York circles. To have that as a DJ is also like a big thing that I hear in DJ circles. But then after that, we did Back from the Mystery System. We did 2. That was a lot of songs that we had just been like collecting from like certain other album projects that we had attempted and never finished, or like how Nas has the lost songs, or that was kind of a combination or compilation of our just lost songs or B-sides or potential A-sides that we hadn't mixed, and it was just a bunch of music that we were sitting on that we felt like, look, man, time is passing by. Let's at least just give this to the people and let them just hear what we were working on. It's not all mixed. It's not all, but it's songs that they could see how we were growing musically or what we were thinking about, stuff like that. So yeah, but it was rough, man. It was hard traveling and during those times because it was, it was overlapping trends coming in. There were no groups anymore. Like, it went from groups to just no groups. You know what I mean? Like, that dynamic was just gone from music. So it took a while for Shai to become, in the 90s, to become old school enough to be a commodity again, which it is now. Like, a lot of shows, because the novelty of the 90s is like a thing now. Whereas when we were just being removed from it, it was like you fell off kind of status, more so than like you old school now. It was like, so it was trying to navigate that, still eat. But we were doing a lot of shows over in Germany. We were still doing shows, especially in Europe, man. And that was like letting us eat. Plus the fact that we wrote our own music, royalties came in for us. We were able to eat off of our music. If you look at If I Ever right now, it's almost at 80 million views on Vivo. So the interest never waned in the music. And so that kept us in good stead.
Publishing, man.
The fact that we had the wherewithal to write our own stuff, And the fact that we were connected to some hustling type of promoters who took us overseas to help us make some money and, get the people over there, but they want to do some features over there and do stuff like that sustained us and helped us create our brand on the tour circuit. And so now we kind of on there. We got a little spot on Young Fly Entertainment. They do shows with the 90s, and we got a little spot on there. We always get to show approved. So, yeah.
We just missed one of your shows in New York. We was trying to get up in there, but things didn't communicate and work out properly. So we was hoping to meet y'all in person, but we have the privilege.
Back whenever this madness is over with, we can really start doing shows again. Like we come back to the city, man. It'd be my pleasure to make sure y'all, can come to the place and rock with us.
I'm hitting you directly.
Definitely, without hesitation. Now, fast forward into now, man. Being a doctor, into the educational policy stuff. I know there's been many lessons from your music career that taught you and honestly understood why you wanted to transition to this purpose now to give back with education. So what was some of those lessons in your transition on why you decided to do what you're doing now?
Okay, well, philosophically and just personal philosophy, that I come from my parents, my dad, my people in my corner have always given me the kind of support that whatever's in you that's worthy of being expressed, if it's past like a critical mass, if it's something that's really something that you got, like a gift, you need to manifest that. So either or, that old kind of school thinking where you foreground one thing over the other, and the thing that you think that's foregroundable is the thing that fits into the current mode of how we do human, which is like marketplace driven. So your thing that's gonna make you some money or whatever. But your soul, so music was in me, so was academia. I'm an intellectual dude, and so I'm curious about knowledge, and I'm kind of good at learning. I learned how to learn over the years to a point to where I kind of excelled at it. Bloomed a little later. I was always a good student, but as I grew up later, I really became a really good student, and then the music thing, platinum. So I got a terminal degree, Ph.D., and on that end of side of me, and then on this side of me, platinum artist with a couple of hits as a legacy in there and stuff like that. So, but me, that was something that was intrinsic from a young age. And the music industry didn't push me to do that. I already kind of had that going on. But somebody like Tracy Lee, who was a part of my research, it was a situation with him where he had Biggie on one of his songs, and the label wouldn't promote that Biggie was on there. So the people wouldn't buy his records, knowing that Biggie was on there, which would have boosted his sales. He couldn't promote that. So, he had lackluster sales based on the fact he couldn't promote one of his hottest commodities. And I said that to say, it pushed him to become a esquire, a lawyer, an entertainment lawyer. So he would fall into that trap. So the industry really, really, literally a transcendent lesson that he gained from there really transferred and concretized itself in his actual life. But me, in terms of navigating the power structure, I just got to see it play itself out again in another venue. I had worked on Capitol Hill while I was at Howard for the Senate Judiciary Committee and stuff like that for congressmen. And so I got to sit down with the Congressional Black Caucus, and I got to see how the politicians maneuvered themselves, and the thing that the faux finish, because I was preparing the briefs that was going to get presented to the congressman as if he was in the hearing, but it wasn't him, it was me. Or they have mail people, constituents get preset mail stuff sent back to them. They thinking they congressman is. So I started seeing it from the inside, like, oh, this is a fabrication. Just like in the music industry was the same way. It's product. It's a product. And the behind the scenes, it's like the Wizard of Oz, the Wiz back there, things, but it's all mechanical. And that system spits out products. So the school system is economy of scale of larger society. So of course, it's going to be built to make products that are like smart obeyers, so they can fit into the marketplace easier. Like and I started seeing things for what they were in that way, and so it forced me to, automatically be a scholar to learn about those dynamics on a higher level, just because I was made like that. But the musical part of me was also screaming to become what it was trying to become. So I went full out all the way for it, on that side of things. So I was just kind of like at a young age, I saw myself as different in that way. And I just maxed out. I self-actualized as much as possible on both. But the label really didn't push me into those directions. It just kind of reaffirmed what I kind of had a notion that it was like in the first place. Because as I was going through it, I always likened it unto not a permanent state. Like a lot of people my age really thought, this is my life, this is me now. And once they got to the industry, I was looking at it like, yo, this is dope. This is like the bonus round of like the video game when you jump up there, all the coins and stuff available. All of them up there in that little space.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a time where you come back down there and you back in the regular part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that as I was in it. So I didn't get let down too much when I started to dim and stuff like that. I was already kind of grounded as me, knowing what I was inside of, you know, and I was looking at it more to learn from it, if anything. So I understood that, yo, as an artist, there's a fine line between giving birth to art and giving birth to product for the entity that you signed the contract, proprietarily speaking, to. Now they dealing with that and you as an extension of their product, as opposed to counting on you as this artist to create art. And that's in all your venues, whether it's corporate, you're a product that is coming out on the other side of some kind of tutelage to reflect that entity that you're a part of. And that piece, you know, where imagination becomes imagination for sale, which is innovation, is just imagination for sale. I want to keep it at imagination, because the innovation always has a direct military application as soon as it's born in its corporate form. Just like that's what we are. The fact that, you know, products of school to fit the economy and scale of society to plug in is really, if you look at the big scale, you got our military that deals with the foreign elements, you know, the foreign defense piece. But domestically, there has to be a mechanism in place to make people not even think about any kind of pushback against the state, to actually fortify its bottom line with minimal pushback or even ideas like that. So this whole thing moves on ideas and stuff like that. And so I needed to be in a realm of education to where I can see it, you know, exactly for what it is, what's on the cutting edge of the field. And in educational policy, is such a social dynamic mixed with quantified science as well as qualitative science, that I got a real comprehensive picture of the social milieu mixed in with the educational and intellectual arena that zip those things up together, so I can see a real good picture of what I was in as this black male artist swimming around society. Like I really could see it in the from a social political lens, as well as just this black brother that has a soul that wants to give something, and, you know, looking at what the milieu, how they perceive me, how they perceive me. So I was always in that like little mad scientist mode. And I live in that mode, and it's just like, you know, and it's just, I don't try to, but that's just kind of how I'm made. So long answer to that question about how the industry like pushed me to, you know, but it was organic, and there was a lot of levels. And, you know, like I said, those phases, you know, you go through the pre-phase, the trial and error. Like you get this contract and you really so invested in yourself artistically that you kind of looking at that originally as like, yeah, I know that's the business side, you know, but it's my project I'm about to do, and you know what I mean? And then you get slapped in the face with the fact that this is a music business immediately. Yeah. And that all that cultural stuff and all that stuff that you was bringing with your product, if it ain't affecting a certain modality or template that they perceive as the money brokers for their bottom line, that stuff gets X'd off in production. And you quickly see that your ideas around how you want to be put out there and how you perceiving that as identity work for yourself, quickly from their perspective to you is just the commodity branding that they think can work. If it happens to coincide with your identity work that you perceive, you're lucky, because you can kind of preserve your identity because it just happens to work in the same mode as what they think money can be made. But if there's any difference, the power mode is theirs, and you're gonna suffer. So you gotta, you know, so after the trial and error mode, you realize that, oh, I need to sit back and watch how this thing works. Then you go into the peak game mode, and you start seeing the power dynamics and stuff like that work themselves out. And when it comes down to a default, who gets to control? And then you start basically from there figuring out how much of the game can I play, seeing that the game is a game to be played, where I can still maintain my soul and navigate in a way that I can get maximum benefit if I'm gonna be up in this without crossing the line of soul losing. And then you apply it. So that's the new attitude phase. Like you coming out armed with your knowledge and your tools and the wherewithal, and then what you're made of, and putting those together trying to ride a line that kind of like helps you navigate. Like when you take the center line, you kind of, you know, you don't have a lot of oscillation liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Stay here, you know what I'm saying? And then from there, like the life lessons, stuff like that. So yeah, like, you know, pretty much when you're in a situation where somebody cuts the check, they're going to have the power. That's one big lesson that is unanimous. And when you're dealing with a contractual piece, the leverage is already over with. Like you almost have to have an education about that contract before you even sit down, so you can understand all the moves you can make based on it before you even sit down with that contract.
Exactly.
Negotiation process. And that's what books are important. Like Tracy Lee had a book like that. You got What They Never, everything you need to know about the music industry, those types of books. Those are really serious things to like learn about your publishing splits, what's normal, so you can kind of already have an idea before you even sit, you know what I mean? All those kinds of, it's education.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that's going to prepare you. So in life, the more informed you are, like if you're in football, you got to watch some damn film before you go out there playing against the next team. If you're a boxer, you got to look and see if you're southpaw. He done popped you in the head. So quick, the left hook, you looking for the right one to come. He done left hooked you out the game or uppercut even. You wasn't even ready. You thought you was looking for the other hand. You got to do some homework. And if you did homework, you could have easily slipped that. You could have just moved to the weak hand. You know, you could have just easily started moving that way the whole fight. So just preparation, just age-old lessons like preparation for that moment allows you to navigate better. Like the more you know, the better you're going to be able to process what you're dealing with, and the more understanding in the moment you're going to be of what your options are. And so not knowing your options is usually our detriment, like not knowing what we can do, you know.
So where can we continue this class, Professor?
Yes, we need a whole nother session on like this, because you know I'm all in the conscious talk. I want to get more into the educational policy stuff, and you talking about going to legislation. So, but with time right now, it's like we could go for a whole another.
I know,
we definitely got to set up another part 2 for ASAP. Like,
but I'll be happy to come back and rap to y'all on some more stuff, man. Like
yeah, definitely.
Whatever you want to tap into, it's my pleasure.
Because I like the whole piece with the music, advocating into the music, you know, having an advocacy piece before that. It was just like, and then breaking it down with that transition. That's yeah. And then I wanted to get to some of your views on what's going on today, but I know Ty, we got with the time, so I know you want to get into the card game at least.
Like we can set up
but
another
definitely.
one too, cover just some
Well,
issues.
We definitely have to do another one where we just focusing on like the real, talk about what's going on in life around and everything. Let's do that.
Y'all got me, man. Y'all got me. So just email like y'all the same thing, and boom. This time I'll be on time, and I won't.
No, that's all good. You went to sleep. We gonna take a nap too. You know, we all tired, brother. It's all good.
It is all right. It is all right. So right before I start this game, the fanboy in me, I got to bring the fanboy back just a little bit, and it is not just for me, but there'll be some people that's watching. They'd be mad if I didn't ask you if you can give us a little something from the repertoire. If at all possible, my brother.
Oh, from the Shai music?
Yeah, man. Come on, man. Hit him with that something smooth, you know.
Lay down and tell me what's on your mind. What exactly did he do to make you cry this time? I will be a comforter. I will make it right, baby. He cast a shadow on your heart, and I will bring back your light. You know.
My brother. I'll tell you, anytime the song plays, and as soon as you bring them silky vocals, all the ladies go crazy, and the brothers, we feel like that's what I'm talking about. You set the mood right, and thank you for doing that for us. You set the mood for everything, entertainment, intellectual, everything, man.
That whole thing was just an honor to be the soundtrack to people's coming of age moments, including my own, you know what I mean? So
now that we've been schooled and entertained, we want to see how much schooling you've taken in the R&B game. So at this point, we're about to play what we call Pull Your Card. It's an actual game. It's a whole game, right?
Snap.
By my man Harold Lee out of Bloomfield, Connecticut, or we'll say Hartford, Connecticut, which is where we're from. So here we go. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions and see if you get them right. If you get them wrong, we're gonna have to pull your R&B card.
Oh shoot! I'm
gonna give you a freebie. Okay. This one is a freebie, just because I want you to understand the level of respect for you that people have. Here we go. Your first question. The group Shai sang a cappella for this song released in 1992. A, If I Ever Fall in Love. B, Baby I'm Yours. C, Comforter, or D, Yours.
I can't believe that that's in there. That's why. But If I Ever Fall in Love, I can't believe we in some game like that. That's why.
And I always try to find the artists just so I could let them know that's how much respect people have for you.
Game now, like I gotta figure out how to get this game.
But we gonna talk. We gonna make something happen.
Okay. Word is
all right, here we go.
All right.
The 1989 song "All I Do Is Think of You" by Troop was originally released in 1975 by this group. A, the Commodores. B, the Jackson 5. C, Kool and the Gang. Or D, the Silvers.
Jackson 5, B.
That's what I'm talking about.
All day. And it's funny because the Jackson 5 and the Silvers was on tour together. Can you imagine that?
Ooh. Man, that had to be a show.
That misdemeanor. Well, it's just a misdemeanor. From the stuff. So what you want to do?
Yes. These young cats, they don't know about that. That's that real music. Okay, here we go. Which song did Genuine release as his debut single? Is it A, Differences, B, Pony, and you are correct.
He already said it. Got it out the way.
All right, we got.
That's my Libra soul brother right there, man.
Okay. Man, he was out there. Whenever them songs come, you do your little dance to it.
Well, no, I can't move like Genuine. Like that boy had he was like the first Usher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Genuine was Genuine. But all his songs were hits, man. That was a song, a dope song having to do.
Here we go. In the late 90s, this Jesse Powell song was a popular wedding song choice. Is it A, All I Need, B, Gloria, C, If I, or D, You?
Is it You? Yeah, you. You. Oh
yeah.
My God. What?
Okay.
He was MCA too. He was on MCA. We did a couple of little in-stores with him and stuff like that.
Look at that. See, and then here's our last. This is our last one right here. Which group includes identical twins Brandon and Brian Casey? Is it A, After Seven, B, Jagged Edge, C, The Whisperers, or D, The Moonlight?
Jagged Edge.
That's what I'm talking about. You
undefeated.
have hit a perfect score.
Undefeated.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. The perfect score on the education tonight, on the history lesson, and now on the R&B hip hop pull your card experience.
That's what's up. I love it. I love that game, man. I love the little Trivia Pursuit with the R&B people. That's dope.
Yeah, it's a whole game. There's the hip hop version, R&B, the 90's, and they working on some other stuff.
So sick, man. I like the logo and all that is dope. Okay, I'm gonna have to own that somehow. So y'all gotta give me some information later or something.
I'm gonna figure out what we can do, and this is our way of like getting with the celebrities. And
that's the dopest thing ever. Cause like my dissertation, my research, I didn't really ask direct questions. I did like elicitation. So I would say stuff like, yo, if you can sum up your whole experience in the industry down to a sound, what would that sound be and why? And the narrative, the stuff that would come out of that thought process to like whittle it down to a sound, it would be the richest data you could ever get. And I could have never, ever thought of the questions to even get that out. Then I would go from a sound to a word to a color. And between the triangulation of those things, I was getting stuff that was just like, I could never have gotten that just with a direct question, you know what I mean? Those elicitations. So what you're doing with that is like a style too, like an elicitation kind of style, like, because it's centering the artist. Like that's put me back in my heyday as you do that. Like You know, and that's dope engagement piece, man. I love those kinds of tools.
Well, thank you. We humbly thank you from the BCAS experience for coming on our platform.
Yes, sir.
We look forward to a part 2. More education.
Man. Y'all just let me know when y'all ready for it. We can go all up into the educational policy like my man want to do. And
yeah, we're gonna send you some dates, man.
Yeah,
definitely.
let's do it again, man.
And I'm gonna be mad if we don't. We got to give some more history on the songs like you did too.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
Fanboy and me need that.
Let's do it.
But thank you.